Hi everyone, thank you for joining us. I'm here with Joe, an animator, filmmaker today. Would you like to start by just telling us a little bit about your film and what inspired you to create this?
Yes, so this film is about a world called KHENTOPIA, and the inspiration came from an event a couple of years ago, a political event, where the outcome of the presidential elections was a little different from what I hoped it would be. So I felt we were entering a parallel world, and I think currently we are in that parallel world also. Anyway, this foreshadows actually in the future. So the idea is that if we have a parallel world, there's two timelines. This way or that way. And what happens is that this planet, this world, KHENTOPIA, is a very peaceful world, but they do defend themselves, in a more spiritual way by they found a way to capture the energy that comes from chanting, Buddhist chanting. So that's captured, and that is that powers a force field. So there are 30 chanters, and they all sound in unison. There's a radar ship that finds out how they do this, and they find a way to, they think, well, if we have one chant out of tune, then everything gets messed up. So they implant a little device, there's an operative that goes down to the planet, and they implant a little device, and the device allows her to change the pitch of that chant. So the next day, when he starts chanting, she changes the frequency. Everything goes terribly wrong. Their idea was just to get rid of the force field. It has much greater effects, and yet the planet is hurled into a parallel world that is unfriendly and nasty. So that's sort of the beginning of the film. And then, of course, there are in a parallel world, and then how to get out of it.
It's a really interesting and creative story concept. I think the idea of having the energy power the portal is a really cool idea. What kind of inspired that, or did you do any research beforehand to kind of?
Well, I sort of followed the science closely, but they talk about, and I like to watch science fiction as well. So you always have black holes and portals. So that sort of gave the idea of well, what if that other world still sort of exists but at a different plane, and what if there's, because they're bad people and they need energy and they pull it from a peaceful planet, so that would be disastrous. Yes, I don't know what the ideas go. That was just popping in my head.
Yeah. I guess that's how.
So it's partially I do research,
Yeah.
and so there is research. So we try to come up with something that physicists can say, well, that's impossible. I think that's boring because it's a vehicle for your story. The same as so that's, I think, it's warranted.
Yeah, definitely.
It's fiction also.
Yeah. You took on a lot of different hats for this film. You did the writing, the animating, lots of the different roles in the background that went into it. What was that like, having to kind of take this on by yourself?
Well, I already done that for, I've created shorter films before, so I was sort of used to it, and I have a nice workplace, so I can do it. I think there's good things and bad things about it, because you have to be very critical if the result is really. One thing is I do like sound, so I take great care in making sure the sound is good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's there's good things and bad things about it. I've never worked with a team that made another experience. There was this panel yesterday from these professionals, and one was sound, Foley, one was the board. I think, yeah, well, those are things that might, you know, if you have the money and have other suite like, I can see some problem in the film. So, I can see that as benefits too. But on the other hand, I have no time constraints. Nobody's saying, well, it has to be done.
Did you go through like? Did you have multiple past versions of the film, or it took you a bit of time to get to this?
Yeah. What I usually do, I start to create after I have my script. I start to create scenes. One of the earliest scenes that's still in there is the chasing of the two spaceships above the city and one is above now. And I like that scene, so it stayed in. But yeah, one of the things that I wanted to work at was the final look of the film. That was sort of like a graphic novel look, and that took quite some experiment to get to like this After Effects filters.
Oh, cool.
Nowadays you could run it through an AI and say, this is the look you want, so it's easier. But yeah. And also, I think even if you have a complete film and look at it, you say, oh, there's things that I don't like. And that's one advantage of working on your own, because a scene that's not quite, maybe the dialogue is off or something. I have to, that's important for me. I have to see the scene in order to judge if the dialogue is how I should change it. Come from that.
Yeah. How long did it take you to reach this final version?
Too long. I think from the beginning, from the initial idea to the final, at least the first final version, about 7 months.
Oh, wow.
But it took a while to get to the final story, because I was struggling with how they got from. So I knew that, of course, it has to happen again, it has to go back to the plan. That was easy. The beginning was easy, but the middle was hard, and I was struggling with that. And then I got the idea, why not let the original spaceship come back in the emergency landing, and have those people sort of redeem themselves by helping the original the mess that they created.
I like
So
that.
that's sort of and then another character that came in at some point in this was a cyborg. People liked it. I had some feedback. People liked it. She develops herself human traits.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, it sounds like you put a lot of hard work and dedication into this.
Yeah.
Are there any like places you want to take the film, like expand off of it, or like build a bigger universe around it, or do you think you'll move on to different projects?
Well, I have other projects that I like this give this film a wider distribution, and even outside of Asia, for instance, and so that's probably a little bit was doing about it.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, is there any last things you want to share with our audience before we close today?
Well, thank you for coming in the first place. It's always nice to show a film in this that's why I do these festivals. There's a lot of online festivals, but we don't do those anymore because we don't have the public, so see it and comment on it.
Yeah, definitely. And before we close, if anyone in the audience wants to ask any questions or
Yeah, I have a question. Job, I know you handle most of the film all by yourself. During the process, and do you really have you think about particularly topic you want to discuss with someone before you make decision goes which way? Or you just, whatever you make decision by yourself, right from the point where you're developing a story?
Yeah, that's sort of how, I have an idea. And some of those ideas are quite old. And some things, for short films, like the other day, I had an idea that just pops in my head. I don't know where it comes from. That might be a short film. And it gave me, I can tell a little bit about it. I was doing my brochure and I wanted to do this at the time, so I put all these QR codes on there. And then I imagined an idea that people have a QR code on their head, which sort of, just like an address, tells their traits. And you have like singles, parties, and the couples come together and they both, each of them scan the other person's QR code. And if there's a match, there's a heart, or there's a buzz. So it's an idea I had the other day. So that's maybe a short film.
Yeah, because you just by yourself, lots of time during it, your creation period, sometimes if I was thinking, is this idea the audience will like it or not? So I always kind of find a group of people to talk about it. So
Well,
do you do that processing?
I do have my wife, so she has certain things in the film that I change. Like when the space shuttles, initially the one shuttle is shot down, right, and the guy just perishes, and she said, I don't like it. So I gave him a parachute, so he saves himself. Nobody dies in the film. And yeah, no, you're right. And one problem is to keep interested in your, like, especially a long project like this, to stay interested. That's
I think it's hard. Like once you do a certain point, you're just thinking, oh, it's just my idea, right? What about my viewer, my audience, what they want to say? So if I talk to different people, I get some feedback. That'll be form myself better idea to have a next step. So I think it's just what that's what I kind of do things like that. So, but anyway, I admire you to handle everything by yourself, and your film did good. So that's fortunate. I think a lot of people like me, I can't just do by myself. No, I can't because I don't know if the whole thing works. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
What did you use to make the animation?
Oh, it's a product from a Taiwanese company. It's called Revolution, and they have offices in the US as well. And they have a suite of programs. They have a animation program called Icon, and then for characters, there's a program called Character Creator. And now they have moved. Moving along, and they now moving into AI-assisted animation as well. And I've used that like 20 years ago. I bought the first, one of the earliest, and it was much simpler. It was a very simple program. It's getting complicated. So yeah, that's what I use.
I had a couple of things regarding your software and the like. Your sets, were they prefab sets to choose from, or were you involved in the design of the sets?
I did design the sets. So in the 3D, but I like 3D and 2D. Drawn animation is great, but I need a place to move around. So I create the sets here. From different components are available. You can buy things components that put things together.
And these were not part of the animation program, you brought them from other sources?
Well, the animation program also, the same company also has a so they sell stuff that you can buy. And, the characters I design myself, but they have sort of the base weight, and then you can put a photograph as a source for the face.
And then the voices that you had, I noticed you were using 11 Labs,
Yeah.
which is an AI, a website that uses AI. You give the dialogue, and it will give you the recorded dialogue, and you're customizing the voices for the different characters. You have choices.
Yeah, and one fun thing is that you can actually clone an existing voice. So the director of the science station is my wife's voice. So I cloned her. And what's funny about it is that I'm Dutch, but she doesn't speak Dutch. But I can make her speak Dutch by entering Dutch and using the voice. It's just amazing. And you know, every time there's now versions that you can even add more non-verbal elements into the. So I mean, it's really amazing. And they use, excuse me, they use voice actors as the base for them. You know, voice actors they get paid and they form the basis of the voices. So I like it. It's
Any other last questions or comments before we end today? Well, thank you.
And one more thing, I just wanted to say you do have a graphic novel that exists.
oh yes, yes, yeah. Thank you for mentioning that. So because of the project takes so long and you get bored, my wife said, "Well, why don't you try to create a graphic novel?" I think it was her idea, based on the film. So that is a sort of a parallel project that I have. There's a sample book on the table out there. Yeah, so that's kind of fun, and you know, I may consider that for longer films, just to do the graphic novel first. Because animation is so hard to do animation. I find it difficult still. So the work is still images, and still an idea. So that was fun.
And you can use it as a storyboard for your.
Yeah, actually, yeah. So that's another interesting thing that I find that you know, you have storyboard programs and this and that, and it's actually easier for me to create a scene and the characters and then as a base for a storyboard.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your film with us and for being here today.
Thank you.
We're excited to see what comes in the future.
Yeah, and